Welcome to TULLOCH. Our purpose is to build an organization where everyone loves their job and the leaders care for them. My name's Kim Hutchins, and today we have Robin Fleguel joining us. He is a general manager of Geomatics, and we're going to chat about how to use networking to develop relationships over time and his unique experience in the Western Arctic. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear a little bit about your story and tell us a little bit about your position and what you do.
So I'm general manager of Geomatics. I share that role with a colleague, and we sort of split things up a little bit based on discipline and region, but we work well together. I look after the Geomatics unit, a large high-performing team, mostly here in Ontario, and it's a people-leading position. I have accountabilities for finance and things like that, but the big part of it is working every day with our team.
And what is it about it that you really love about your job?
It's interesting because early in my career I worked in smaller businesses with not so many people, and more recently I've worked in larger form factors with a lot of people, and I discovered about myself that I really like working with people every day. And the people here at TULLOCH are amazing, high performers, and it's a joy to work with them every day.
That's so good. And now we've talked a little bit about recruiting. So what's something you want someone who's just graduating to know? Like if you could give them a piece of advice, what would it be?
You know, my son is in this position, so I have recent experience giving this advice, and the advice is encapsulated probably in one word, and that's network. It's a word we hear every day, but what it means is don't be afraid to let people know that you're available.
Yeah.
Even if you aren't available, you should always be maintaining relationships, having discussions with people you might meet in your everyday life, people from school, people from other jobs that you've had. Staying in touch generates conversations that often lead to opportunities.
Yeah, and so how do you go about recruiting new people?
Again, networking.
Yeah.
Just in some recent recruiting I was doing, I had a conversation with a high performer, and we were trying to define what sort of a role that high performer would fulfill, because it wasn't in response to a job posting.
Yeah.
So some jobs, some of the best jobs maybe, aren't listed, aren't posted anywhere.
Right.
You try to identify people who you think are really good at what they do, people in our case who will fit our culture, fit the TULLOCH way.
Yeah.
And then I like to find out what their drivers are, what motivates them. I like to know something about their personal lives, what their goals are, where they see themselves headed.
Yeah.
Then when we get that data, call it, I'll go back and talk to my colleagues here at TULLOCH, and we'll see if we can find a role or engineer a role that works with those drivers.
That's amazing. And so then what is your management style, and how do you use that to mentor those under you?
Management style, I think most people would say is pretty free form.
Yeah.
It's not, I like to accept input from anyone in discussions. I feel that the most powerful decisions are made resulting from consensus or attempting to get to consensus, which means, you know, from various directions there may be compromise, but at the end, if you can get a group of people to more or less agree on a direction forward, then you know that those people are going to pull in that direction.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where I come from. Mentoring, we do have formal mentoring programs here at TULLOCH for both articling students and young professionals. So we put young professionals together with more experienced professionals.
That's so good.
In safe spaces,
Yeah.
so that they can discuss, you know, there are no silly questions. They can discuss what's going on in their lives professionally. But there's informal mentoring that happens. And in my experience, you're always going to develop there will always be high performing sort of junior people that you develop a rapport with.
Yeah.
And I find that very gratifying when we develop that rapport, and I will go the extra mile to make myself available for when, the people that I'm working with on the team, if they want to reach out and they need guidance or they just need to proof something, gut check something with me, then I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now I know you've got some great stories, but there's one in particular. Can you share that with us?
When I was a young professional, brand new professional, I was in the Western Arctic on the Mackenzie, north of the Arctic Circle, with two of my mentors, in fact, on a field exercise that lasted quite a while. It lasted long enough that snow started to fall, and we were staying in a camp that didn't have any running water.
Oh my goodness!
So we were, after about a week, I would say, of bathing out of a small hand basin, I finally couldn't take it anymore. We had a dilapidated wooden shower that was open on one side toward the river, with one of those propane source heaters.
Yeah.
So I put my towel on and I dashed out through the snow, and got under the hot water and was having my shower. I was just rinsing my hair, had shampoo in my eyes, and I heard this big foghorn sort of noise. And I turned and sort of opened my eyes, and a Coast Guard cutter just kind of drifted
oh my goodness.
into view. And there was a guy standing at the rail of the ship,
just
waving at me. So, I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere. It's the last thing that you expect to see.
Yeah,
so,
No, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so now working at TULLOCH, what do you love about working here?
It's the team. Again, I'll go back to the team. I first encountered TULLOCH years ago when Mike first was getting started up. I was working with a company called Marshall McLeod, and we partnered on some interesting work. And they'd always sort of been on my radar, and I think they're on a lot of people's radar, honestly, because from the outside it has looked like all the way along a strong performing team. And I've looked at the growth. I might have been working on my own or with another company, and admired it. So when Mark sort of called me up and we had one of those conversations,
networking, yes,
that's right. I was really interested, and now that I'm here, I can see it. The team that I'm working with is top notch, top drawer team, high performers. Everybody's engaged and happy to be where they are. So that's what I like.
Good.
It's about being here. Yeah.
Okay, now can you describe your job in 6 words?
6 words. Advocacy is one word, and what I mean by that is, if I'm leading a group of people and we're starting to get a bit larger, we want to make sure that we're listening, because as you get larger, the means of communication becomes more nebulous.
Yeah.
So you listen, and if somebody has an issue or a pain point, I make sure that I advocate for that person.
Yeah.
Teamwork. I keep saying team, but it is really important.
It is.
That'd be word number 2.
Yes.
Guidance.
Yeah.
I don't like to be too prescriptive when I'm dealing with somebody who's reporting to me. I prefer to use guidance, because if they're on the team, there's a very good chance they already know the answer, because we're dealing with a bunch of high performers here. So guidance is usually all that's required. Ownership, and by ownership, I mean simply people owning what they do.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun is the big one. If you think about it, this is what, for most people, this is what occupies most of their waking hours in any given day. So when you get up in the morning, you should want to go to where you're going to work. Work should be fun. And obviously it's fun for me, and I think that it's fun for the team as well.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
And what ways do you find that TULLOCH shows that they care?
I'll go back to listening. So I've been talking so far about sort of what I'm leading, but I'm also led, and I also have colleagues at the same level as I am. There's great listening power,
Yeah.
above me and within the organization generally. And that's important. You don't want to just be a cog in the machine. So they show they care that way. Our health and safety is taken very seriously. We work on it all the time, every day.
Yeah.
And the reason we work on it is not to fulfill some sort of bureaucratic requirement. It's because we value that high performance team. We value the people that work with us, and the last thing we want to encounter is a health and safety situation. So we pay close attention to it.
Yeah.
Rewards, I've discovered there's a lot of flexibility on rewards. If somebody's really hitting it out of the park, we don't have specific rules about rewarding that. We'll reward it on a case-by-case basis. So we have that freedom to acknowledge when somebody's going the extra mile and doing really well.
Yeah, that's so amazing, Robin. This has been so great to chat with you and understand what you do and how you work with other people and how you network. So I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, no, that was fun.